to be that desperate to step into a boat during a storm is just almost incomprehensible.
People are going to cross, and they're going to take those women and those children and those men. They're going to bring them across, and there's going to be more tragedies here.
You know, it's just the way of life. It isn't really, you don't think of it as illegal here. It's just another way to make money, to make a living. That's the way I look at it.
I think we have to deal with this. We have to come up with some solution for it.
Boarding a boat to retrace the path of an ill-fated journey across the cold waters of the St. Lawrence, guided by an Akwesasne man who once smuggled contraband across the river. His name is Darren George. We've agreed not to show his face because of the stigma associated with smuggling. He knows how quickly the river can turn deadly.
So they probably came through there, went down there, and they had to flip in here someplace if they were screaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where they would have...
Oh, yeah. You see how much water is going to hit them?
Yeah.
There's no island to block them. There's nothing there, right? So something happened. Maybe the water came over the back of the boat, the big waves.
He says the 8 recent deaths in these waters should never have happened.
The wind's just pushing them around, right? You're not going to live in this more than 15, 20 minutes. But at night like that, you're not going to have police out here either. Yeah. So that's why you do push it.
2 families, 1 Indian, 1 Romanian, with 2 Canadian children, pushed out into these waters from Cornwall Island in the late evening of March 29th, hoping to slip into the U.S. through smuggling routes developed over generations by the people of Akwesasne. They never made it. Their small boat capsized. Casey Oakes, the Akwesasne man connected to the human smuggling attempt, is missing. And the river still hides much of what happened that March night.
This river has a lot of secrets, eh?
Too many. A lot of them you don't want to know. Yeah, crazy. But it's a way of life. Like you said, it's not always just been smuggling. We beaver hunt, we muskrat hunt, everything out here, fish. So it does everything. It's a way of life.
Darren's brother is Doug George Ganandio. He lives a very different life as a journalist and cultural consultant.
There's no family that has been untouched by smuggling. My uncle used to smuggle alcohol for the Kennedy family in Boston. This was the main conduit for it, and that's a given part of our history. And it's not a good part of our history. It's an embarrassing part of our history.
History shaped by geography and colonial geopolitics, making Akwesasne unique in North America.
The singular issue here that you'll see virtually everybody at Akwesasne talk about when it comes to smuggling is that this is a problem made by Britain and the United States and then Canada.
Akwesasne is one territory cut in 2 by the imposed Canada-U.S. border. A band council oversees its island district in Ontario and its Quebec Islands and mainland. The rest in New York State is administered by a separate tribal council.
So the smuggling, the illegal transportation of goods across that border started almost from the time that border was established and set in place after the War of 1812.
Smuggling corridors then form through cracks between jurisdictions.
And so the smugglers take advantage of that. You have people on that river with high-powered boats exploiting people's their desperation. And that's what we have to live with. And that creates a kind of really crazy tension on this community.
Darren George says greed adds to the danger of human smuggling.
So you're saying that, you know, to save money, people are using people who shouldn't be doing it.
Exactly. Hell yeah. Yeah, yes. Taking advantage of somebody's on drugs or somebody's drunk or somebody this, somebody that, yeah.
And that's happening.
Definitely. That happens a lot, all the time. Why should I give you $1,000? I can get it him for $200 and he'll do it.
Yeah.
We need them, maybe they said we need them across tonight. I don't care what the weather is. Here's $1,000 and he'll do it.
There's a whole list of young men who died on the river.
Marjorie Skitters is the editor of Indian Time, the local weekly newspaper. She says the community still carries scars from cross-river smuggling of cigarettes that pushed Akwesasne into the national spotlight in the 1990s.
So this is an old story. in many ways.
It is. It's old and it's sad. It's part of Akwesasne, and now the job has become to move humans, to move people.
But Skitter says there is part of the community overlooked by the outside world.
We still practice our ceremonies. We still go to the longhouse. We still have our songs and our dances. We have that, and we hold it strong and close to us. And we do everything we can to make that flourish. That we are a vibrant Ganyanke Haga community here.
Traditions thrive here. Children learn their language and how their people taught the world about maple syrup. Family bonds run strong, but these human smuggling networks, often with ties to organized crime, bring fear and danger to the community.
There's a fear. If I were to say, I saw somebody coming off a boat a mile down the river and call it in, would they come after me? I think that's the fear. There's a fear, a personal safety fear. We know this is larger than ourselves, larger than Akwesasne.
Doug George Ganandio believes there is one solution that can stop smuggling on the river.
We want to be governed by one singular Mohawk Nation Council. And the solution is immediate and it's obvious. Empower the Mohawks to have the unilateral jurisdiction to control this type of activity. Right now we don't.
On the river, cross-water traffic is again resuming its clandestine movements as the nation's attention begins to recede and the shock of 8 deaths begin to fade.
What happened didn't deter anyone. It's still going on within the community of Akwesasne. And I think it's going on daily. And I think it continues to happen in broad daylight throughout the community.
And Jorge is back in Ottawa tonight. Tell us, what can law enforcement do about this?
Well, this is probably one of the most heavily policed regions north of the U.S.-Mexico border. You know, on the Canadian side, we have the RCMP, the Ontario Provincial Police, Quebec Provincial Police, Canada Border Services Agency. On the U.S. side, you have Homeland Security, U.S. Border Patrol, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, New York State Police, Drug Enforcement Administration. Add to that, you have the Akwesasne Mohawk Police patrolling the Canadian side of the community, and the St. Regis Mohawk Police patrolling the U.S. side of the community. There is no shortage of law enforcement agencies bumping up into each other's jurisdictions and agendas. You know, we have internal Canadian government documents going back 30 years with law enforcement discussing these issues and not knowing what to do about them. So what about the idea from Doug George Ganandio about uniting Akwesasne under one Indigenous government to control the river? Well, as far as we know, no government on either side of the border has considered this option. Ian?
All right, Jorge, thank you.